From its humble beginnings in 1946 as the BAA, followed by a merger and a name change to the NBA, professional basketball has always been a reflection of culture. Ambition in motion, competition as an art, and community stitched together by the sound of a bouncing ball. But behind the buzzer beaters, packed stadiums, and stars of the show was a business that needed to pay its bills. For the initial owners who put their money on the line for the league, it was personal. Local successful businessmen and families, in which some lost big, while others led as decade-long owners of a community team. Initial owners of the NBA were seen as more promoters than owners. Ned Irish, former director of Madison Square Garden, and Walter Brown of famous TD Garden, saw an opportunity to fill idle hockey arenas with basketball games. Now, decades later, there's a problem.
Teams just are losing money.
And now new money is coming in, salivating over the opportunity to extract every dollar out of the NBA. One question lingers. Can the NBA stay a league of the culture with its players, fans, and cities? Or will they just try to make a quick buck? The NBA's initial years in existence were rocky. Many franchises folded or relocated to major cities to become profitable. Teams were rooted in a community, owned by individuals who lived in them, attended games, and even knew season ticket holders by name. As decades passed, team valuations soared, and the select group of people that could actually purchase an NBA team became increasingly small. Tech CEOs like Steve Ballmer, Mark Cuban, and others quickly scoop in for parting owners. Now the NBA is setting its eyes to expansion, not just in the number of teams, but to a whole new continent. The NBA is actively planning to launch a new European-based league in 2027 consisting of 16 teams. This globalization of the modern game has changed the equation even more as fans become ever more global. Now, for owners, what used to be a badge of local prestige became a trophy asset class for a new player that has entered the fold: private equity. In 2021, NBA owners approved a plan to allow investment firms to own stakes in teams. This changes the fabric behind NBA ownership. The maximum equity an NBA team can sell to fund is 30%. The maximum equity a single fund can own in one NBA team is 20%. However, a fund can also own multiple teams. The current rules allow funds to own up to 5 different NBA teams. Currently, 20 out of the 30 NBA teams have partnerships with financial institutions. This is seen with private equity firm Arctos. This firm has equity stakes in the Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Utah Jazz. The Blue Owl Fund owns stakes in the Atlanta Hawks, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Sacramento Kings as well. Finally, private equity firm Sixth Street owns a 12.5% stake in the Boston Celtics and a 20% stake in the San Antonio Spurs. Industry insiders of other leagues have expressed concern of private equity's involvement. Insiders of the NFL, who only recently allowed private equity investment, have stated there is an inherent risk of conflicting priorities between league offices and private equity firms. That same concern applies to the NBA. Will the fan experience change to cookie cutter and bland? Will there be a complete disregard for the grassroots of the game because it doesn't line the pockets of wealthy finance executives? Private equity has always been known for maximizing revenue and cutting costs at all stops.
They just want to see a return in their dollars.
However, the league wants what's best for the game, its players, teams, and fans. There is an inherent disconnect. So, why is this happening? Why is the NBA, once the private playground of a few billionaire owners, now opening its doors to the faceless world of private capital? Basketball is an expensive sport to be an owner. In 2017, it was reported that an estimated 14 out of the 30 teams were losing money. There are quite a few teams that still lose money yearly. What do these owners do when they lose money every year? They inject their own money to keep the ship afloat. That's why private equity is a shiny new toy for owners. It brings new funds from faceless investors. Compared to reaching into their own pockets, they let private equity groups step in. Private equity funds are financing new arenas, practice facilities, and supporting operations, while current owners maintain all day-to-day decision-making powers. The league grows richer, and its footprint wider. You may wonder, if some teams lose money every year, how are these teams' valuations still going up? It starts with streaming. The television landscape has splintered. What used to live on television now stretches across basically every platform known to mankind. NBC and Peacock, ABC and ESPN, and now Amazon Prime Video. Through all this, one truth remains. Live sports are one of the only communal experiences left. In the world of infinite content, one of the only things people sit around and watch together are games. That's turned the NBA and sports in general into the crown jewel of the streaming wars and for general investment. A bare-knuckle fight between media giants and tech titans for rights, reach, and relevance. For them, sports aren't just entertainment. They're leverage, attention, and control. And when there's leverage, there's money. In July, the NBA agreed to a new media rights deal worth $76 billion over 11 years, beginning with the 2025-2026 season. On an average annual basis, the new deal is worth $6.9 billion a year, nearly 160% more than the existing media rights deal. This has pushed NBA valuations to historic levels. NBA teams are now on average worth an estimated $4.6 billion. That is roughly a 21% increase from only 2 years ago. The sports industry has become an irresistible asset class. Global, stable, endlessly monetizable. Everybody wants in. But money doesn't stay silent forever. Today, private equity is capped at 30% ownership of a team, with no voting rights. But influence has a way of expanding quietly. What happens when those investors start asking for more? Private equity firms are built to extract value, not preserve tradition. And sports, at their core, aren't assets. They're stories, rivalries, and communities. If profit becomes the only scoreboard, what happens to the soul of the game? That's the tension faced by the NBA, between passion and profit. The next decade will decide which side wins.